I'm Dan Brown and I work for HLM Architects, where my job title is Associate and Head of MMC Delivery. HLM is an employee-owned trust with about 180 staff based in studios in Sheffield and around the UK and also in Ireland. We provide services in architecture, interior design, landscape architecture, master planning and environmental sustainability. Our international work includes many project types within sectors that include asset and workplace, defence, education, healthcare, hospitality, leisure and culture, justice and emergency services, and living and communities. I'm also Chair of the Yorkshire Regional Council of the Royal Institute of British Architects and Chair and Trustee of the Sheffield Design Awards, a charity that promotes and rewards good design in the built environment. The traditional route to qualify as an architect is GCSEs and A-levels followed by a 3-year degree at university, a year working in practice, a 2-year postgraduate degree and another year in practice before sitting professional exams. My journey was along these lines with some slightly unconventional diversions along the way. I think I was about 8 when I decided I wanted to be an architect, and after a short time at school considering an alternative career in medicine, I decided to study architecture with a specialism in town and regional planning at the University of Sheffield. Whilst there I also worked as a food delivery driver, in IT support and at a radiator factory. When it came to securing a placement for my year out, I really wanted to experience the booming industry in Ireland, and I chose to work for a small but rapidly growing practice near Dublin. I took on a lot of responsibility at that busy company. I learnt a lot and enjoyed it so much that I stayed for an additional year. In fact, I'd rather have stayed longer and follow a part-time postgraduate degree, but universities didn't offer that option back then. However, it transpired over the next few years that because of a broken wrist, a car accident and some other events, that I was able to mix university with time as a self-employed architectural designer and in a small-scale property development company. Towards the end of my diploma, I decided to also complete a master's degree and worked as a residential tutor at the university, whilst also joining an architectural and engineering company. I stayed at that practice for over 15 years, during which time I designed buildings in many sectors, acted as expert witness in court hearings, and ended up being based on a building site leading a team during the construction of a large shopping centre. Alongside the multi-million-pound developments, I also wanted to work on smaller scale projects and set up a partnership with a university friend that focused on single homes, extensions and small commercial refurbishments. I then moved to a more senior position with another architectural practice near Leeds, where I was on the operations board as part of the senior leadership team, whilst also delivering projects from concept to completion. My interest in modern methods of construction, or MMC, combined with my close work with site teams, and I decided to take my career in a different direction and joined a main contractor as their design team leader, with responsibility for managing external consultants and an internal team of design coordinators. We were primarily focused on schools, built with modules manufactured in a factory, that were then transported to site and assembled into the final building. During lockdown, however, an opportunity arose for me to move back to architectural consultancy and work at HLM to lead on expanding the expertise and services relating to off-site construction and MMC, and that's what I've been doing for the last few months. I really enjoy the variety that my role as associate includes. No day is the same. I might be in the office collaborating with people to design projects from the earliest briefing stage through to planning and detailed technical construction. Other times I'll be online or elsewhere in meetings with colleagues, clients and other specialists. I regularly travel between construction sites, factories, conferences and award ceremonies, and I'm involved in the management of fees, resource planning, negotiation of contracts and with marketing. I spend some of my time developing strategic approaches to grow the company's capabilities with off-site and modern methods of construction across all the sectors that we're involved in. And I'm working with colleagues to develop digital tools to make this as efficient as possible. I'm also heavily involved in research and development projects that aim to find inventive solutions to design problems, and I write articles on social media and deliver talks to help educate and to promote debate. I'm particularly motivated by the potential for new and innovative methods to move construction away from building sites, which are often cold and wet, into a more controllable environment that helps to improve quality and health and safety for workers, minimise disruption for neighbours, reduce waste and deliver cost-effective, creative and functional buildings, all within a shorter time frame and with minimal impact on the environment. It's important to recognise that it's unlikely any individual involved in the delivery of buildings will have all of the skills, knowledge and experience to do everything themselves. Whilst architects can often be great leaders of construction projects, they need to be able to work within a team and communicate with others who can fill in any gaps. So people-focused skills such as listening and speaking are fundamental. A large part of architectural design is about thinking creatively, to solve problems and work through options to arrive at the most appropriate solution that balances functionality and aesthetics whilst being affordable and sustainable. Skills in humanities are important. After all, buildings are about people and are only truly successful when they address human needs. However, it might be a surprise to some of you that not everyone who works in architecture is really artistic. Although that certainly helps with parts of the job, some people enjoy the maths and scientific bias that can be involved in building physics and technical construction design. Throughout my career, skills with digital technology have become more and more critical. Use of building information modelling, or BIM, other creative software, coding and virtual reality are key tools for the design and construction and management of buildings. But to get the most out of these tools, it's important to understand the principles of building design, evolving construction techniques and technologies, and the regulatory framework within which we work. Management skills are required not only in terms of planning your own time and what drawings and other design documents need to be provided to who and when, but also in relation to understanding how successful businesses are run. Across the architectural industry, there are many career opportunities. Architects can be self-employed sole practitioners or work for multinational companies with many thousands of employees, or for every business size in between. There are roles in the public sector and private organisations, and not only as consultant designers of buildings, but also working for developers, contractors, educational institutes and other businesses. There's the potential to work locally or around the world, and to be a generalist or to specialise in one particular sector, a specific construction type, or to focus on an area such as inclusive design or conservation. Like all sectors, the cyclical nature of the economy impacts the labour market for architects, but employment opportunities are currently very strong and the outlook for the future is good. I'm pleased to say there are now more options available to train as an architect than when I started, including apprenticeships and part-time learning, as well as the more traditional full-time university courses. These routes to qualification are widening opportunities for architects to come into the industry from a more diverse section of our society than may historically have been the case. So, if you think you might like to pursue a career in architecture, I'd suggest you do some research into the options open to you. Look up the pathways to qualify as an architect and consider if there are any particular parts of being an architect that really appeal to you. I'd encourage anyone who thinks that they may be interested in working in architecture or construction to go for it, and don't let anything hold you back.